G'day everyone and welcome to episode 12 of the Battleforge Gaming Podcast. I'm Background Mike. As always, I'm joined by BFG Justin.
How we doing, guys?
And today our special guest is Heresy For Heretics.
What's going on?
Welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us all the way from the ACT.
He says I'm New South Wales, brother.
Ah,
I'm close. I'm close though.
Good start. Real good start.
I've done my research for this one, guys, so
Yeah.
strong start.
I can go to the ACT if it makes it easier
Nah,
for you.
don't go there. Do you know how hard it would be to hobby in the ACT? Like that heat would it would be so hard. It'd be difficult as.
Plus the politics, you just couldn't do it. I don't think. Yeah, as always, this episode's brought to you by our good friends at General Games.
Yep.
Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Heresy, you're meant to remind me.
I was almost going to do it for you, but then I thought I'll let you roll.
That's early enough though.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's
for
pretty
us.
good for me.
That's pretty
definitely.
good for us.
So yeah, if you're enjoying the content, guys, make sure you like it, and if you got any questions or want to jump in with a comment, jump in with a comment.
And like and subscribe Heresy stuff too. We'll put some
100%,
links.
yeah.
We'll have some links up there so you can go over to all these different socials and give him a follow and a like as
Yeah,
well.
for those of you that don't already follow him, on Instagram it's Heresy For Heretics AU, and that's the same for your Twitch, and for YouTube it's just Heresy For Heretics.
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic. Now, before we jump into what everyone's been up to for the past...
Yeah, you're meant to be holding a box too, Mike. I was hoping you could hold a box because this would be a nice setup.
You mean this box?
That box there, yeah.
It's nice.
Why are
and
you holding
symmetrical.
that box?
Well, I'm holding this box, Justin. So, before we crack into it, this is a pretty exciting announcement for us. General Games, as everyone knows, are our partners, support us with various things, and this is one of them. We're going to run our first giveaway, and it's in honor of their new store opening. So they're going to be opening an Epic class store in Chirnside Park on the 30th of March. And to celebrate that, we're going to be giving away one combat patrol of the winner's choice.
Yeah, so this is the World Leaders one, but if you win the combat patrol, because there'll be two different winners, if you win that combat patrol, you can pick which one you want. Doesn't have to be the World Eater one. I just picked that because it looks really cool. Like, it isn't actually really cool. It's a really cool looking box. And then the other one is...
Yes, so we've got...
a Knight Questoris.
yes.
And unfortunately, it is only a Knight Questoris as the win. It can't be a Knight Abominant because I think Knight Abominants are sold out. They didn't have one in store, so it is just that Knight Questoris.
Not bad for runner-up.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty exciting. There'll be two different winners, and we will announce those on the 28th of March on a Twitch live, which will be live from their VIP night,
So
which we're getting invited to.
So yeah, while we're walking through the new store, we'll be giving away some exciting boxes of models.
Yeah, Mike will be walking around with a selfie stick, doing the stereotypical, check out the new store, guys. That whole
100%.
thing, and that's how we'll be doing.
That's definitely my vibe. I
giveaway.
think I'm all about that. So yeah, that's exciting. And what does everyone need to do to win these, Justin?
Oh yeah. Forgot about that part. So what we're going to get people to do is when this live is up, when this podcast is up on YouTube, so this is episode 12, what we're going to do is we're going to get people to like and comment on both this episode, so episode 12 and episode 11, so Kales. So you need to go back an episode and watch it and comment on it and like it. And the same with this episode, and that will give you an entry to the giveaway. And if you only like one of them, then you only get one entry. But if you like both, then you get two entries.
Yeah, so you can double up your chances.
You can double up your chances. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or technically you only have one entry, but you could also have half an entry, if that makes sense.
Depends how good people are at going back and liking.
Yeah.
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 Exactly. I'm not going to do that math.
But yeah, cool. It's going to be a really, really fun giveaway. And the more you guys support General Games, which is easier for Australian hobbyists than it is international. And the international guys can win these too. So don't worry if you are international. If you enter and you win, we will just ship it to you. But yeah, the more you support general games, the more chance we have of doing more giveaways. So I love doing giveaways.
Yeah. I love doing giveaways. Who doesn't love giveaways?
I love doing giveaways more than you do.
I love free stuff. Get out. So that catches us pretty up to speed with the announcements.
Yep.
What's been going on? What's happened for your last 2 weeks, Juddy?
So I'm up to tonight will be day 41 of painting Tyranids for DreamHack.
Who's counting, mate?
I'm counting. I'm counting every single night on Twitch now because that's where we're streaming. But look,
It's a lot of carapace.
yeah, look, I thought I was going to lose my mind, but I've actually managed to get through it. And I was doing the maths, and I think it equates to like 145 hours for 850 points, which for me isn't really a lot. Like I've got a Dreadnought I spent 125 hours on. So yeah, having to sort of speed paint something is different for me. So it is a little bit of a fun change. I would love to get back to my Blood Angels, but it is fun. So it'll look really cool when they're all finished and on the tabletop.
At least there's kind of like an end goal in sight for these. Like they're going to have a purpose once you've
they do have
once
a
you've
purpose.
painted them
Yeah,
up.
so they'll have a purpose, obviously at DreamHack, and then I think they'll be put on display at General Games for a while, I
Yeah.
believe. And then we might do a giveaway with them one day. Who knows? We'll see how we go. We'll see what General Games want to do with them.
Cool. Fantastic. And what about yourself, Heresy? How's your last couple of weeks been?
Oh, brother. I've been painting like crazy. I've got a big video coming up to celebrate getting 20,000 subs on YouTube.
Yeah, congrats, man. I saw that. That
Thanks,
was
man.
last week.
That's big.
Was it?
Yeah. And so I went out, and that video is going to be sponsored by the Army Painter. I sorted it out like a month beforehand, thinking, I've got heaps of time. And then we got an absolute surge. So where I thought I had a month to do something, I had a week and a half. So last week I painted 7 models to display standards in 7 days. And that was rough.
That sounds brutal. That sounds
Yeah.
that honestly sounds so painful.
Yeah. So this way, and one of them was old Bobby G himself, and all the trim that comes with the Ultramarine Primarch.
Yeah, he's got a lot of trim, that dude.
Oh yeah, and then I decided that it'd be better if I made it like an RGB style to make it look like a gaming PC. So all that trim is like fluorescent rainbow. There's transitions everywhere. It was a nightmare.
You regretting that RGB choice yet, or?
No, it's like the most popular thing on my Instagram.
That's so sick. How
It's good when it pays off, though. Imagine if it wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
If you got like a handful of likes, you'd be like, oh my God. But it's good.
There's like 3 likes, yeah.
Yeah, it's good that the effort involved equates to some interaction, which is great.
Yeah, that pat on the back I needed after that week. That was rough. Like I did Angron in 3 hours on a stream. I did Angron. Who else was there? Jane Czar, Rabute Gilliman.
Hang on, wait, you painted Angron in 3 hours?
Yep, sure did. Thanks, Airbrush.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so this guy did look like Goliath from Gargoyles.
Yeah,
The 90s,
I remember Gargoyles. Gargoyles was sick.
Yeah, and if you don't put Angron's armor on, he looks exactly like Goliath, but slightly crankier.
I've heard there's a live action coming out of Gargoyles.
There is, and I am all about it.
You're probably a bit too young for Gargoyles.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was a cartoon. It was on. Was it
I
on
feel
Cheese
like-
TV in the mornings? I think it was on Cheese TV. Yeah.
I feel like I'd probably know it, but I just can't picture
yeah.
it
If you
right
saw
now.
it, you'd know it. Yeah. It was very, very cool.
Well, actually, it's so old that it was on Agro's Cartoon Connection.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. No, Mike didn't know that.
Well, we don't have any of these channels when I was growing up in New Zealand, but that's all good.
Yeah, it's like a Toonami or like Cartoon Network kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. No, that's crazy, man. Because you did Mortarian recently as well, or Listarian.
Mortarian, Lestarian. Depends if you want to glue on the wings. But yeah, no, I've got him coming up. I think I'm going to turn that into a short series instead of a full video.
Yeah.
Just because of the schedule, it's running out of time, and that's at least going to be like a 15-hour piece minimum.
Yeah.
Now, normally we don't do this type of stuff. We don't normally do an interactive podcast, but I've just seen a comment, and we were chatting before the podcast, obviously setting some stuff up.
Yep.
Geo has asked about the Fnatic paints from Army
man.
Painter. Now, so it's pretty cool. Like, I wouldn't have thought to bring up that question if we weren't chatting before the podcast. So it might be a good little time to see how you feel about that.
Do some paint chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's easy. And the embargo's lifted, so everybody's allowed to talk about them. Obviously, so I was bought into the Army Painter stuff as they were releasing, and I got it sent. I think I got them early December. They sent out the full range for the channel, and man, they're my daily driver. I barely touch Vallejo paints anymore. Even my Chimera sets, like I don't pull out a lot of. Everything's going to take it up. Like the whole triad system, like the flexible triad thing, like the 6 paints in a single hue, is really, really handy.
So what type of paint is it for, I guess, people out there that don't, it's not a contrast type of paint? What would it be similar to?
So essentially, it's just your standard acrylic paints. They're all just like a regular paint, except they've been working. The Army Painter worked on creating a stabilizer medium, so it doesn't break down. When you're mixing it with water or other bits and pieces, it stretches really, really far, and the whole thing is about opacity. So, the first thing I did, obviously, being mini painters. Yellow is like the worst thing in the world to paint. There's no getting around it. But the first thing I did was pull out the yellow and no primer directly onto a black base, one brush pass, and it was covered. Like it was great. So instantly I was like, okay, I'm going to try the other 215 of these and see how it goes. But honestly, it's fantastic. I can't really say enough about them. They're my daily drivers. And for somebody now that's like, I got into the hobby a long time ago and I've tried a bunch of different paints. Companies send me paints all the time to try out. It's basically these and AK Interactives. That's all I use anymore.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
This is another thing we're speaking about before on the channel as well. We actually just got raided on Twitch. So, Senpai Namurai, absolutely appreciate the raid. Could one of the mods please give Senpai Namurai a shout out?
Nam, it's been a minute, my guy. So Nam's actually is one of my G's out of Discord as well. He's been painting, Warlord Titan, under Warlord, whatever the wolf head thing is. He's been doing amazing on that. Been watching that now for the last couple of months, and it's awesome.
Reaver? Is it a Reaver type? Maybe. Anyway.
Whatever looks like the old Space Wolf helmet thing, but like on a knight, it's that.
Man, and it is
the Reaver.
Yes, I got it, Reaver.
That's sick.
Oh man, models like that, it's probably a bit too big for me to paint. It's just such an undertaking. It's massive.
If you got it for a year or something, I guess you could just
it would take me a year to paint one of those. It really would. Like these guys, the Imperial Knights that sit on the desk, they were like
the Warlords are twice the size.
The Warlord Titan's the size of me.
Yeah. They're massive.
That is actually insane.
No, they're not. No,
I know.
They're pretty damn big though. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Not as thick as me though. my shoulder width is much wider than.
Yeah, same height, but just you're a bit stockier.
Yeah,
a bit chunkier.
Yeah.
You reckon you'd take a Warlord Titan?
I'd roll pretty bad. I'd need Heresy to roll for me in 40k for 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, we need the blue dice.
BFG Justin versus a Warlord Titan. I can't roll for myself. I'd lose 100% of the time.
Yeah, if you were rolling, I know who's winning that one for sure. Oh, that's sick. What a project, though. How do you know how long he's been on it? I mean, he could probably tell us.
Yeah, no, easier.
Yeah, Namara could tell us.
Yeah.
It's Twitch now. We've actually got people that interact in the chat,
Yeah.
not like YouTube.
Wild. Yeah, that's sick. So
yeah, that's sort of the I guess the housework done.
yeah, housekeeping.
Yeah, that's
Catching
the
up
word I
with
was looking for.
everyone?
Housekeeping. All the housework.
So yeah, I think obviously we've got Heresy for Heretics on. So you said you got started. I thought you almost segued yourself, which
I did. I was
happening
close.
a lot on our show, which is fantastic. You said you started many years ago.
Yeah.
What was your first experience with Warhammer like?
Honestly, pretty rough. So this was actually my surprise for Justin.
Here we go. Oh, was it me? Was I your introduction?
No. You, so yeah, I was just peeping through the windows watching you paint by angels. But no, like last episode with Kale, you were talking about you'd love to have somebody on that found Warhammer by themselves, and that's me.
Oh, we've got a Primarch. We've got a Primarch.
No.
Yeah, I came into, I think it was 2002. So Christmas 2002, obviously just going around town with mum, and we went to a hobby store where they had the Lord of the Rings Warhammer. And back then I was, pretty big into Lord of the Rings, and that was kind of it. Looked at all the stuff, really wanted to get into it. So like we were talking to the shop owner and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, you build them, you paint them, and then like it's a game. I was like, that sounds really cool. Fast forward like 2 weeks and it's Christmas, and tear off the paper and it's just the giant starter set for the two towers with the Riders of Rohan and the Uruk-hai in it.
Sick.
And that was it. I started painting and didn't roll dice for like another 6 months. But yeah,
it's actually amazing how many people get into the hobby through Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
As opposed to like the Space Marines or anything.
It surprises me every time. I know Lockie talked about it as well in his episode, and I was like, I didn't think Lord of the Rings is the first thing you come across when you walk into. It would have had to been a GW store back then, or was it a third party sort of?
So this was a place called Mao's Toy Shop, which has closed down in the last couple of years. It was just like a little mum and pop shop.
True.
And like it used to be a toy shop out the front, and then out the back it was like your all your model building and like all your kits and that kind of thing. And there was just Warhammer. But I think you make a good point, because I think a lot of us at our age, when Lord of the Rings was coming out in film, that kind of becomes like an instantly recognizable franchise, and then we see it in something, and like that's kind of just the gateway.
Yeah. It kind of bridges the almost mainstream to the hobby world. Like,
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So you were saying that you got that starter box and you instantly started painting. That you were drawn to the painting before any of the parts of the hobby.
Yep. Yeah. No. It really was the painting, and then Mouse Toy Shop. They also had like once a week you could go and play and paint and all that kind of thing, like a hobby day. So I started going to that little club, and then I figured out it was a game and I could potentially play it. Honestly, like I was 12 in 2002. So like trying to read that rules book and kind of understand anything just wasn't happening. That was not something I was teaching myself. And so I went with them, started playing, and then they were playing 40k in fantasy. And that was it. It was like, okay, I don't care if they're going to drop the ring off anymore. I would like a Space Marine, please. And straight into that. And that's what, 21 years ago, 22 years ago. God, I'm old.
Justin?
Yep. Yep. But I didn't start like that long ago. I would have Yeah, I'd love to see where I was at if I started 20 years ago. I'm sort of only 13 years in. So there are people that are younger than myself that have been doing hobby for longer. Because people get into it real early. So
It depends. Like, it really depends, though. There's guys that have been doing it for a year that are, like, progressing faster than people that have been doing it for 5 years and things like that. So when you start, like, doesn't really determine where you can get to in any space of time, because some guys just dive, like, even yourself, like, you dived in pretty hard and then you progress quite quickly.
Yeah, I think a good example of that one is 84 Paints over on IG.
That's what I was thinking of when I was.
Yeah, like that dude's been painting for maybe 2 years tops. Now you don't know people's backgrounds, right? People could come from an art background, so they've already got some hand-eye coordination with a brush, that type of stuff.
Building scale models since they're 6 years old.
Like Kieran. Kieran was a freak. But yeah, 84's paint evolution is just like you've never seen. Like 2 years, and he's painting box art higher than box art.
4 Siege Studios.
Yeah, 4 Siege. Yeah,
crazy. It just shows how you can progress, though. So did you keep up the hobby right through till today, or?
God, no.
I was gonna say that would be amazing if you've been going for like that many years straight.
I wish I did. Like, honestly, like, I was in and out, like, finding it at 12, and then, like, I had a bunch of guys that started playing it at school, like when I started high school that next year. And it was kind of the in out, like, you know, we do a couple of things, and I get out of the hobby. Well, not really out, but just stop practicing, kind of thing.
I don't think you're ever out of the hobby.
Yeah, that's and because that's how we get back into the hobby. Like, it only, like, you could not do anything for like 2 months, and then you walk past the store and there's like a box of something sitting in there. You own it and you're back in. That's it.
Yeah, totally.
I've taken a couple of hobby breaks, and then came back into it just before the pandemic hit. So it was like 2019, but like I was in and out for quite a while. Played through 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Had a break. I didn't play through 5th and 6th edition for 40k.
So 6 is when I came in. That's when I came in.
Yeah.
I was like yourself. I hit it real hard, and I painted heaps, played heaps, and then like you had a bit of a break. So I had a break around 9th, but I did paint. I painted a lot through 9th. Just that rule set just didn't interest me. But I think it's like anything. When you are hobbying and life gets a bit tough, hobby's pretty easy to push to the wayside. It's one of the first things to go, I'd say. So, but I've always came back to it, always. So it's if life does get a bit much, don't feel guilty that you can't hobby. You know, do what you got to do, get yourself right.
100%.
And you can jump back in whenever.
Yeah. Did you? What was the first faction you painted up? You said you went Space Marines. Was it Ultramarines?
God, no. No, I went straight into Space Wolves. Nope, straight to Space Wolves.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick first faction.
Yeah, and then probably about 6 months later, I realized the error of my ways and started playing Eldar. And I've been Eldar ever since.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Long term.
Oh, yeah. I'm convinced I'm getting a spirit stone when I go.
Is that one of those decisions you just don't come back from? Like,
Yep. Nope. Instantly. It was like Eldar, and like I started reading like a bit of their stuff, you know, because obviously through the codexes and bits and pieces, I was like, this is just really cool. It's like, it is essentially the rise and fall of an entire civilization within, you know, just one faction. And then you have your offshoots like your Harlequin, the Inari, and like even Drukari. And then strangely enough, there's a bit of an affinity there for Slanesh. So Chaos, you're welcome for your buddy. But yeah, no, I loved them and just always have.
I'll be joining you soon. I will be joining you soon at some
I'm
point.
so looking forward to that.
Yeah. Except mine will just be wraiths from the start because I need to paint elite stuff. Just takes me way too long to paint. Guardians.
Oh man.
Have you got an army of Eldar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I've always been massively into wraiths. I love the idea of the wraithbone construct. So yeah, most of my stuff has always been guards or blades. The aspects I'd love currently in 10th, aspects are like the worst part of playing Eldar. Even though that's where the flavor comes from.
I've perused the Dark Reapers and they don't look like what they used to be.
No, and the worst part,
Dire Avengers look nice though. Dire Avengers with Azaman look pretty good.
Yeah, no, they're still pretty. Yeah, they're all right. You got the trade off with the points. Like they're cheap enough to take to fill those holes, especially when wraiths are so expensive.
Yeah, they got upped too, didn't they?
Yeah, like it's like 300 and something points to take a unit of 10 plus your Spirit Seer.
Yeah,
like that's massive.
Tough to deal with though.
Oh yeah, and they should be at 300 odd points. Like we're in Mortarian level points. Like
this would have been prior to the Synthwave schemes and stuff like that. What color? What's the house? What are the houses of Eldari called?
Craftworlds.
Craftworlds. That's the one.
Craftworlds,
Yeah.
So I was always I've never ever had an army that's coherent as far as color schemes.
Yeah.
I come up with a different idea and I just want to paint that. So I don't have anything that looks like it's ever come from a box.
Yeah.
And that was like, it wasn't intentional. It's just, I feel like painting purple today. That's it. Yeah. I basically, you throw a dart at a rainbow and I've probably got a unit that color.
That's sick. I mean, that'd get you pretty damn good at color theory, I'd imagine. Painting like
You'd
that.
think so, but here I am.
Well, speaking of the color theory and Synthwave, in case people don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And be prepared, guys, because I am in charge of the.
We don't know what's going to come up on the screen.
This could go south real quick. I think I've done it.
I think you have too. That looks pretty good.
That looks pretty good. So we've got the Gazgul up on the screen right now.
Yeah. Prophet of the Synthwave.
Prophet of the Synthwave. What paints were used to achieve this, dude? Like what brand of paint?
So this kind of jumped around a little bit. This one is actually mostly Vallejo, as far as like the pinks and the purples, and then the blue green. But the contrast yellow, I think it's either Imperial Fist or a Yandon. Imperial Fist, that is the brightest contrast paint in a yellow that you can find that's clean, it's not murky or anything like that. So it just hyper saturates. And then I shot the entire thing over with Familiar Pink, which is a speed paint from the Army Painter. Which is something I do fairly regularly to resaturate, just give it a coat. It's like using inks, but they're still acrylic paints. And yeah, that's it. It is so bright in person that to edge highlight, I had to go straight to what is it? The fluorescent hot pink. Like that's a fluorescent paint to do the highlights. That's how bright this thing got.
Wow. Because I showed Lockie before we did the show.
Yeah.
And he's like, that thing is bright. Like that.
Oh yeah.
So if it's brighter in person, that thing must be like super.
Yeah, because I was under the assumption because it was shot in a black background that's amplifying all the colors. But if it's brighter in person, that's
other way.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So I've never ever been able to get on film of any kind, whether it be phone, $1,000 camera, nothing represents what it actually is. It blows out every color and white blend on everything.
That's wild.
Which is kind of what I aim to do now.
It does seem like that's your style a lot of the time. So we've got another one.
Yeah.
Here. Let me see if I can. I've done it.
Bang.
I've only bloody Gordon done it. Yeah. A Norn Emissary? Yeah. Is this the Emissary?
Yep. Yeah, that's the Emissary.
And this is painted with basically similar paints. But looks of
So
it, or
this one was the first one that I got. Well, actually, yeah, the first one I got to do that was entirely the Fnatic paints,
right,
except for that yellow, of course.
which is the contrast yellow again.
Yeah, which is Citadel's yellow. Yeah, I don't like saying social dirty words too often, but yeah, no, it was just an absolute banger. That thing was so fun.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about with the triads from them, like. Because there's like six different brightness or like levels of brightness in the same hue. Like I just started with magenta for the deepest recesses and worked all the way through the transitions, and yeah, it just kind of naturally highlights itself.
Yeah,
That's like there's no wet blending or anything on this.
Yeah, the blending turned out amazing.
Is there a chance that
as.
you ever paint an army to this standard, or?
Oh yeah. So I'm actually planning a video at the moment. I'm gonna get a bunch of models in, make a 2K list, and see how long it takes me to paint to a display level for an entire army. And then I'm gonna take it to an event, and if I don't get best in show, I'm gonna cry. And then I'll make a reaction video of me crying. So it's all content.
Yeah, I've heard that mentality before.
No, that's not my mentality. My mentality is I'm going to paint my Blood Angels for at least 10 years and then go to a tournament. And if someone beats me as best painted, then
we get them on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll get them on the podcast because it would be an absolutely
Don't
amazing
they just take over the BFG Justin account
You
and then
wait.
they become BFG Justin?
The tournament that I choose to go to first with my Blood Angels will be the tournament that Heresy goes to with these Tyranids. And then we're just both going to be standing there being like, oh shit.
And it's like the year that Vincent Venturella comes down and enters.
Yeah. 100%.
It's like the hobby version of
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the hobby version of Fast and Furious where we're paying for pink slips.
Imagine losing your army. Holy shit.
Oh,
that'd be the worst feeling ever.
I'm just picturing a Synthwave army. That's going to be... Is that what you're going to do? Is it going to be like Synthwave theme or?
Yeah. Eventually, I got to do
You would have to have a seizure warning with your army. Like you would have to have like a little warning down the corner. If you potentially have seizures, do not look at this army.
That is
trip you out.
Sunglasses before viewing.
I'm so keen. I really want to see these in person now, knowing they're even brighter than on camera. That's just so exciting.
Oh yeah, they're insane off camera, man. Like actually, we could do that soonish. I've got a bunch of appearances coming up that I'm going to be all over Australia over this year and next year.
Yes,
which is strange. Like I'm getting invitations for things. I was like, why me?
We want to talk to you.
Yeah,
I'm sure other people do as well.
I just find it weird. Like I know like we're talking about like content creation today, but it is just it's so strange. It feels, I don't know. It doesn't feel real kind of thing.
Yeah, I imagine getting to like, obviously even for us, we have people send us messages and people that we meet through the community that we become friends with, and we're like, this is all just so crazy to think that that's how this journey is going. Like, I mean, you would say it better than me, Justin. Like,
no, I think that's what. When we were working together, I think that quite often we'd turn up at work and we were like, the common phrase was, I never thought this would happen. I never thought this would happen. And I don't know if you ever get to a point as a hobbyist when, let's just say, you become like a celebrity in the hobby, like the Miniacs and Ninjon and all those type of dudes. Does your mentality ever change where you're like, actually I am a hobby like influencer celebrity, or do you always just remain that guy who's like, I just like filming my stuff and painting my stuff, and
well, I mean,
I still can't believe people are super interested in what I do.
Yeah, like yourself, Heresy, you're further down the road than what we are as far as like the journey and the reach goes, and you're saying the same thing that we're still feeling now. I think,
and it keeps going. Like I talk to a lot of guys that are bigger than myself and been doing it for years, and they still kind of come to the same thing. Like we were talking before, like how I interviewed Vincent Venturella when the channel first started, and before we hit the camera, he's like, I'm nothing special. It's like, what do you mean you're nothing special? Like, you're Vincent Venturella. Like, you're the guy that, like, I watch your stuff every week so I can get to the level that I'm at in painting. Like, hobby cheating is what got me here. And he's like, no, I'm nothing special. I still find it a bit weird, that kind of thing. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, cool. And then, like, I remember talking to Big Deno when he was on the stream, and Bucky had just won a painting comp. And I said, where's Buck? Is he, at home popping the champagne in the hot tub? And he's like, no, here's the thing. Like, the second he got it, he started thinking about, obviously, like, they didn't see this, or I could have done this better, and that kind of thing. It's like, you just won gold. Like, you took first place.
And those guys are like the Crimson Brush guys, the dominant.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Bucky and Deno. Yeah. And that's like the level they're at. And obviously, again, they're more well known, been doing it for years. And that same mentality of, it's not that I'm not good enough. It's just that it's more like, I can't really believe it's happening. Like, there's just no ego in place, which, don't get me wrong, that is not true for all content creators. But for like all these guys that are still just them.
I think it's a good place to be, though. Like, to stay grounded, to take your ego out of it as well.
Yeah.
We are just all human, all painting models and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but I guess what it comes down to is you've chosen to do something with your hobby to try and help people. So
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's to entertain or teach or what have you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. And then, so going back to your journey a little bit, where did you go from just happily painting away your Eldari and things like that to becoming Heresy for Heretics? And
so I had honestly never even thought of it. Like, I come from a music background, so like I've got a bit of experience in like the entertainment industry, but even that, like, that was never a big thing. And then a friend of mine, Jono from Ordnance Wargaming, he used to have a podcast on his show called Warhammer Whenever. And he asked me to do it, like, with our little circle. So we jump on and we just talk about Warhammer for an hour or two. And that was really it. And I just enjoyed the hell out of it. So I ended up making my own channel doing a similar thing. It was originally just going to be like hobby news and releases and like that kind of thing, because I thought I was a terrible painter. And then I started doing 40K in 40 seconds, and people started asking, how did you paint this? How did you do that? I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not as shit as I thought. I'll show you. I'll do a video, or I'll do a live stream. Like, I used to live stream on on TikTok. It's just put it on for a couple of hours while I was painting, have a chat to people, and just kind of snowballed.
Yeah,
that was like, I still call it like I accidentally fell upstairs. Like,
love that.
Was your growth from TikTok with those lives that just like shoot up?
Oh God, no. They almost sent me backwards. I think it was because my head was on a couple of them. But like I just started doing that, and the YouTube, and it kind of slowly just started clicking through. And then one day it just decided that it was going to explode on me, and I'd have to catch up.
Yeah. I was curious, like, so you were obviously doing the Synthwave style sort of prior to all this kicking off? Was that something you just this is something you sort of incorporated into it?
So I've always painted in like a lot of different colors and that kind of thing. And then I was messing around with something and had it up on my Facebook. And it looked really cool. So I thought, I'll do that. And it's just as the Dante model dropped, like the new one. So I thought, okay, cool. Like, I'll get a hold of this and I'll paint that. So I did, and I painted it as Synthwave, and that was the first ever painting video that I put on Heresy For Heretics YouTube. It didn't explode. Like, it's still, like, even now it's like under 10,000 views, but it started to circulate, like pictures of that, like through groups and through Instagram and like that kind of thing. And that was, I was like, I really like this. I'm going to do another one like for me. And as I kept going, I found like new ways to do essentially the same idea with the same, different idea, sorry, with the same palette. And it just kind of grew from there. And that was it. And it all of a sudden became like a branded thing. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I love how it looks. Let's roll with that.
Yeah. Yeah, now you've built like the whole channel and everything around that synthwave style. Like it's like so iconic now. Like I see synthwave and I'm like, Heresy For Heretics. Like which is pretty sick.
It's really weird to hear people say that like it's iconic. Because like obviously I get a bunch of messages and like inboxes and stuff and say, hey, I saw this and I thought it was you, but it was this other person. I was like, yeah, man, I didn't invent magenta. And like, yeah, it's just people. It is just really, really cool and incredibly humbling. Like the people that like reach out and like support all this stuff. That's just just wild.
Yeah, I definitely one of the things because obviously Justin used to come pick me up on the way through to work and stuff when we were working together, and I think one of the first things
when
we
you had a job
about when I had a job. Classic. Yeah, and I think the first thing we'd show each other in the morning is like some of the messages that you get through on the socials on Instagram and stuff, and be like, oh man, like you'd be reading stuff out and you'd be like, this is the nicest thing I think anyone's ever said to me in my entire life.
Yeah, I don't think people don't understand how much that can drive you to want to do what you're doing even more.
100%.
Like to have the validation from the community that what you're doing is like helping people with their hobby, right? Because again, we spoke about it a little bit. I have self-confidence issues, so sometimes I'll do something and like you were saying, you're like, I don't know if I'm a good painter. There'll be things I'll do and I'll be like, man, I don't know if that was the right thing to do. But once you start getting some validation from people, and that's not to be like, that's definitely not like a, hey, you guys should inbox us and let us know how good we're doing. But if people genuinely feel the way they feel and they're willing to send you a message saying how much you've helped them with their hobby, like that just drives you to want to create.
It gives you
more
like
content.
another gear, doesn't it? It's like another whole nother level.
Yeah, and it just reinforces how you feel about what you're doing. Because if you do have self-confidence issues, like you do question everything a lot of the time. And as soon as someone's like, that helped me, all you need is one person to say it. You're like, cool, I'm going to do that again.
100%. And I think it also like that one positive can also drown out hundreds of negatives in one foul swoop. Like,
for sure.
At least I've helped this one person. Like, I've upset all of you guys over there, but at least I've helped one person. So, I mean, I was going to ask you, but we've kind of.
And do you know what, guys? If you're watching this and you get on our YouTube, if there's something you don't like, please comment as well.
Well, yeah.
Let us know.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. It's all interaction.
Yeah. Yep.
The algorithm
It's not helping.
know.
It's not helping our post whatsoever.
And that's the thing that people don't realize is like it doesn't matter if you like, dislike, comment something positive, comment something negative. I just got your engagement, baby. This is going to drive it whether you want it to or not.
Yeah.
Like that is a big thing. I actually have a lot of gatekeepers to thank for boosting a lot of these videos. Like they come in and just absolutely tear me a new one for putting like a female elf head on Robute Gilliman and calling it whatever I've decided to call it that day.
Abigail the Despoiler.
Or Abigail the Despoiler, exactly, yeah. And like these people, like they come in and they just like they try and tear me a new one, and like the comment they get is, "Thanks for the engagement."
Yeah.
Like, you have just guaranteed that like 10 more people are going to see this. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's
I've started to get into the habit of whenever we get messages like that, trying to agree with them and then ask us what we can do better to get even more engagement out of people.
Yep.
And some of them get sucked in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
This is what I was asking, because your paint style is not inside the box for Warhammer.
It is not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
No.
So I was just curious how you found it from the content creation side of things. Like, you're putting your work out there. How have you found, like, obviously you've got immense support and you must have an amazing community around you, because you've grown, like, I've been watching you and it's been like astronomical rise. Like, it's very cool. You should be so proud.
I am, and almost embarrassed like that it went like that. Like, because it's so we hit 10,000 likes in just, I think it was November. So from November to now, we've done another 10,000 subscribers. Like, that's stupid.
That's what I thought.
That snowball effect.
I wasn't sure. I think I was watching even your Instagram as well, and you were gaining, like, in a month, you're gaining like thousands and thousands, and I was like, that is sick. Like, whatever you're doing is working.
Yeah, it's honestly, because, like, you know, I started this and we're having a bit of a chat. The whole idea behind the channel was, so I actually had a workplace injury, and I haven't been able to work, like, properly for nearly 2 years now. And this was just something to kind of do. Yeah. And, like, that's when, like, Jono's podcast came up and I started doing that with him. And it just became this thing that I can do this too. But so something that started from, this is just my pure enjoyment kind of thing, has gone into, like, this can be a viable career.
Yeah.
And that is, like, changing the way I was thinking about how I put out content, like, around that. I was like, that was huge, and not expected even slightly.
Yeah. It's so funny, because you know who else had a similar story to that? It's just using Warhammer and content creation as an outlet as Maverick. Maverick Paints. I think he was similar. He had, like, a back injury or something like that. And I think he only got into the hobby. Like, I don't even think he was like you. I don't think he had a history with the hobby necessarily. And he got into the hobby as a way to sort of pass the time and find enjoyment. And he blew up like crazy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he went insane.
Yeah. So that's so cool to find, like, and the hobby is great like that. Like, you can do it. Anyone can do it almost. Like, I saw a comment of someone that was having to learn to paint with their offhand because they had one hand was injured, or their dominant hand was injured, so they're learning to paint with their offhand. And I was like, I mean, you can still do it. You can train yourself to paint however, and that's the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah.
So on this journey, you've triggered a couple people, one or two.
Oh, 1 or 2,000, yeah.
Is the main thing they don't like about it? Is there anything?
Female space friends. Oh, okay. Straight up female space friends. I flat out will just say it. The amount of people that the amount of comments, like, to be fair, they have died down recently. Because for a while there, I was fairly militant in my returns in conversation. Just, you know, asking all kinds of questions, like, you know, why can't you just say you're a bigot and stuff like that? But it really is. It's the people that are so inflexible with the law, like. And here's the thing, especially with Warhammer, like, there's essentially 3 different facets. Like, you have the lore, the game, and the hobby, all kind of rolled up into one. So people that don't play or paint and are just into the lore, like, that's still a thing. But they just get so, I don't know, they're just incredibly inflexible with what can and can't happen with the rest of the hobby.
Yeah.
That's, like, even down to, like, 40k in 40 seconds. Like, you think that's, like, a weird interaction from that. But then people that are into lore that don't play or paint, they're commenting on 40k in 40 seconds saying, you know, obviously a custodian should be able to, you know, knock out anything. It's like, well, that's not how dice work. Like, it really is. It's just that inflexible idea of they've been presented with something and then they can't leave they can't get creative with that, even though like a lot of the argument comes from they specifically left out the 2nd and the 11th to be creative with, create your own thing, homebrew as much, make something of your own. But I think that's kind of been lost to time as the marketing machine for GW has grown.
Yeah, I think one of the big things with the guys that are into their lore, and I love the lore. I think it's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And when I paint my stuff, I try and, I'm pretty tight to the codex. But at the same time, I love that people paint however they want to paint their stuff.
Yeah.
And they convert stuff however they want to convert their stuff. And I'm not going to tell someone how to do their hobby. Like,
yeah.
My opinion only matters when someone asks for it. So if someone wants help with a paint scheme and they want to work out how to do X, Y, or Z, then my opinion matters. But I'm not going to jump into someone's, even if it's like a Blood Angel, and be like, hey, your Blood Angel armor is way too dark. It should be brighter. Mm-hmm. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Honestly, who cares?
How does that affect you?
It doesn't affect me in the slightest. And
so
quite often, the people that are doing the craziest paint schemes and the craziest conversions are really, really good conversion. I don't know what I'm looking for, the word. But they do really good conversions and they paint really, really well as well. Like, just let people enjoy the hobby the way they want to enjoy it. And I almost guarantee the guys that love their lore and follow their lore couldn't paint an army to save themselves. And B, if they did, they wouldn't get everything right anyway.
No way.
Yeah.
And like, even if I want to, like, let's honestly have a look at how many retcons there has been through the lore. Like, you would have to pick a very specific era to say this is what's going to happen for this army. Like, it's ridiculous. And it's the same as people like when Primaris would come out. Let's be honest, they were just kind of shoved in there. And like, oh, if they're going to shove that in there, I'm not playing any more bullshit. You have like 6 units of Primaris now. You don't have an option. It's not a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. As long as you're enjoying it, let other people enjoy what they want to do.
Yep. The more people in the hobby, the better.
Yeah.
The gatekeepers need to just chill out and let people do what they want. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, the bigger the hobby gets, the better it will get.
Exactly.
I find it so crazy that people, like, I don't have a problem with people getting mad about the Primaris thing. Like, if they want to get mad, that's fine. That's their prerogative. Yeah. But I don't understand that because I just like the new scale. The new scale.
Yeah, I understood the lore. Understood the lore guys getting upset that in the lore it sort of didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Games Workshop could have just, they didn't have to bring Primaris in necessarily. They could have just been like, here's new scaled models. This is your new Space Marine.
Yeah.
Because that's what they are now. That's literally what they are. Their rules aren't any different to what they used to be. They replaced Stern Guard with Stern Guard and Terminators with Terminators. And they're the same data sheet.
Yeah.
And people are accepting of them now. Whereas when they first did it, I think it's just the change. People don't like the change and they're not used to the change. People freaked. They're like, my tactical squads aren't valuable. Like, I can't use my tactical squads anymore. No, you can still use your tactical squads. You just use them as intercessors. It's fine. Yeah. Everything's going to be okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It probably was more detrimental to people's wallets because now you actually have a completely different data sheet and a different model to be represented that you have to buy the next one. Where if they just changed the scale, instead of having Primaris and they were just running as tacticals, there's no dramas there. You can use your tacticals or you use the new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the issue is more with the lore of how they...
the lore guys, they were freaking out. They're just like, it doesn't make sense. And it's just like...
Sky was falling down for them.
They're writing the books, man. Anything they write, they're the ones that make it make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, even then, like, I've seen a bunch of people, like, don't get me wrong, Twitter or X or whatever it's called now is an absolute cesspool. But I've seen people just absolutely ripping on a guy named Gary Chalk. So he was the guy that did the art originally of the Emperor on the throne. And he was there in the early days where the lore was, that's not actually the Emperor. The Emperor is in bits, in a different room behind the Golden Throne. And the amount of people, like there was a post that Gary put up a while ago, probably about a month or so, and people just ripping on him. And like these gatekeepers are trying to gatekeep the people that created the entire setting. It's like, how wild is that?
Yeah.
Like the idea of you're so inflexible from the writing that you're now arguing with the guy that wrote it.
Yeah.
It's stupid, but I don't know. Everybody for themselves, each to their own. Do what you want to do. Enjoy it how you want to enjoy it. Just don't steamroll somebody else's fun. You can't tell me that you're having fun wrong.
Yeah. 100%. That's 100%. Completely agree. With the other side of content creation, obviously ignoring the gatekeepers. How did you find things like 40K and 40 seconds? Was that something that, because that's obviously pretty big now, pretty recognizable. Was that what got the momentum going for you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to do like these quick little versus things where like I've always loved the idea, just like we'd argue about when we were 12, like who would win out Darth Vader and Optimus Prime, like kind of things like that.
Optimus Prime.
But like
it's live versus.
yeah. And it was stuff like that. So I was doing like, okay. And then like I would take somebody from the 40K universe and put them against somebody else from like, you know, different form of media. And again, some of those same lore guys just went insane with it. And it was almost like 40K had this like amazing plot armor that nothing could beat it. Like there's an argument. I put Goku Ultra Instinct against the Emperor. And holy crap, man. The replies from that, it's like, obviously it's the Emperor. It's like, well, not really. Have you seen what Ultra Instinct Goku is? Like anime, as far as power scaling, is ridiculous. It's way worse than 40K power scale.
You get, like, Goku's just going to scream for 3 more episodes and power up.
Yeah. And honestly, the Emperor's not even going to touch him. Like,
if it doesn't work, he'll scream for 3 more episodes. He'll find another version.
Yeah, his hair will turn a different color and he wins.
Yeah.
That is Dragon Ball Z in a nutshell. But so I started with that, and then like obviously because we love the game, I was thinking like, what can I do in a short form content
to trigger as many people as I can?
Yeah. Well, I found the answer to that. It's putting up a video showing all of my pink models. But like so the idea just came from like I just want to play something really quick. I want to like be able to make content where it is just fun, and like my circle especially, and I know just about everybody else that would, like if you have a chat for your Warhammer group, you have 100% come across the conversation of, if I have this guy with this enhancement or this loadout, somebody else is going to come across and say, yeah, but if I have this thing with this loadout, that
convo drives me insane. It drives me insane. And I understand it. I get it to an extent, but the amount of times I've had, you get people being like, well, my unit of Khorne Berserkers would absolutely demolish your unit of 20 guardsmen. And you're like, yeah, bro, that's what they're meant to do.
Yeah. It's wild. I thought, let's make that a short. Let's take all the characters. Because I started this technically at the end of 8th. So like where there was different loadout options and bits and pieces that we could actually do, I had to strip away a bunch of stuff, like obviously like strats and army attachment, like detachment abilities. But let's see what combos we can actually run in an actual somewhat real world setting. And that was it. It really took off from there. And then like the biggest videos are when I get something wrong and 48 people want to tell me how wrong it was.
Yeah.
And still engagement, but it has actually also helped my game. Like let's be honest, some of the interactions from 8th right through to 10th a little clunky. GW aren't the best at wording their rules and interactions. And you find these little weird overlaps, and that was it. That was really, really where it came from. And then people loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool because I think in this house, especially with like Lockie being the roommate, he plays a ton of 10th at the moment. And I remember him saying he would watch like a battle report, and then he would see a unit go up against a unit, and then he would go out to the dining room table and just roll stuff out. And I was like, this is exactly that.
You forget to tell the part where he sees the battle report, and then he comes to my room to tell me about what he's going to do, and then he goes to the dining room table.
I missed a step there, but yeah, that's like exactly what he does. So I mean, you're probably catering to like a large like need in the community, or large like interest in the community, because if that's what happens in this house, like that's just one Warhammer house, you know. So,
well, see, it's really weird because I've gotten a bunch, and I mean like a solid pile of inboxes or comments of people telling me that they went to a tournament and the guys that got knocked out on the first day were playing 40k in 40 seconds, or like when they're about to start a game, instead of, you know, just getting ready and say your turn, they'll say thanks in games, and like stuff like that. It's like this is just really cool. Like this is actually something that's going out to people. So much so that I heard that there's a club day in Canada where they're doing 40k and 40 seconds battles. Like everyone just like they're bringing along like different characters, and then that's how they're playing like this little mini tournament with each other.
That's actually sick.
It's so cool.
That must trip you out. I think
it really does. Yeah,
that is cool. We got to have a local 40k and 40 seconds tournament, surely.
Oh man, how cool!
We could hold one.
When you're
come down
when you're in Melbourne, yeah, for sure. That'd be fun as.
I'll need someone else to roll the dice for my models.
I'll bring the blue dice.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah. Heresy rolls.
No, you don't want me touching those dice. No.
You don't get touched. I'll roll them for you.
Yeah, Heresy rolls.
Do not let me near those dice.
That's so good. I love it.
I would do the worst 40k and 40 seconds.
It'd be quick. Like, it'd fit in the 40 seconds easy.
And Dante gets 10 attacks on the charge, and he has rolled 8 ones to hit. Wow. I wish that was a surprise.
See, it's really funny you mentioned that, because I actually had to initially, the very first few that I filmed, I was using charges. So they were being set up to be considered to be 9 inches away, and instead of an initiative, because I'd forgot initiative existed from fucking 7th, I was rolling charge. So whoever would get the charge, that's obviously, you know, where it goes. And the amount of failed charges, I was like, well, can't use that video. It was ridiculous. So now everybody just starts off to be considered in engagement. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Dante.
He's not even supposed to be here today.
That's actually, I was wondering how it's evolved from your very first one to your latest one. Like, has there been much of a learning curve as far as production and things like that go?
Yeah, look, honestly, as far as production goes, I learned how to edit. That was a big one.
Because you didn't have any sort of background with editing, really. You said music was more your background, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'd done like some sound engineering and stuff, but nothing with video. So like the first few were legitimately just like, I remember I used to have the setup like in my garage before we moved. And the first one, like it was like 40 degrees. So it was like 50 degrees in the shed. And I'm sweating balls. I've been out there for like an hour trying to get this interaction because I wasn't editing. I was trying to get this whole interaction thing inside of 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's no cuts, nothing. So after I started finding that, now it's really quick, like 40K in 40 seconds. Like I record every night before I post it. It legitimately takes me 10 minutes to do now.
Yeah.
Like, so the difference of me like losing 40 kilos in sweat to now being able to do it in the aircon and in 10 minutes is massive.
Yeah. It's such an important thing I've found with content creation is doing something that's repetitive and fits with your routine as well. Like you can't maintain the output that's needed for growing your audience and
Yeah.
reaching all these new people, unless you can, consistently put out a decent quality of content. So that's crazy that it's down to 10 minutes. That's sick.
And thank God. Otherwise, like, man, if I was trying to do that every night,
yeah, you
like,
wouldn't be
for an hour or three. Yeah,
you would have burnt out.
It's not
like
sustainable.
ages ago.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong. Like, I get my like, you have your down days where you're like, oh, I've got to do it. But and that's where a lot of, ironically, that's where a lot of the motivational videos came from. Where like show like something and I talk about it for like 30 seconds. And then, you really, burnout is a real thing. And I've seen a lot of people talking about it lately, like creators and stuff. But it doesn't have to be. Like, you can just do what is fun. You don't have to do what is necessary. It's like, that's a big difference. So I think the fact that I've only done what I've enjoyed for the channel. Is probably by like so tonight will be my 294th consecutive day of posting. I have not missed a single day in like nearly the last 295 days.
Oh,
so
being able to do something like that, I have to enjoy it. If I don't, that's not happening.
Yeah. No one's pushing through for that long.
No.
Like that's insane, man. Congrats, getting nearly coming up to 300. Woo.
Oh, don't encourage that. I don't recommend anybody do it. It's too much.
You got to get that year though. You got to get that year.
I have to. It has to be a thing.
That's gonna be a party time for sure.
Oh yeah. It's like one day I looked up. It was only a couple of months ago. I looked up the channel. Like I brought the channel page up, and it said I had made 500 videos. I was like, you cannot be serious. Like, this has only been, at that point, it was like a year. Like, I'd only been running for like just a little bit over a year, and I'd made 500 videos. And I counted back. I was like, no, I legitimately have. Like, I didn't think YouTube couldn't count. But it was, how did I do 500 videos in like 14 months? And that's it, just because I enjoyed it. That is honestly it.
Yeah. That sort of output is sick, and it shows why you've grown at the rate you have for sure. Like that's unbelievable, and that's how you turn this into like a career.
Yeah,
that sort of commitment, and like you said yourself, the fact that you truly enjoy it. Like you can't get away with that. You can't accidentally make 500 videos.
No,
without enjoying.
Wow.
Not these sort of videos, anyway. I'm sure.
No, because there's people out there that do make a lot of content.
Yeah,
and you need to hit a certain quality as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like there has to be quantity and quality at the same time. You can't just have quantity.
Really hard balance.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
That's where our balance is a little bit off. I can create quality. Quantity is the hard part.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite.
Nah, it's pretty. Well, what you're doing is pretty sick, man. Like I personally enjoy it. I'm sure. I mean, there's at least 20,000 other people that enjoy it. You know, so
how insane is that number to think about? As like people in a room,
man. Oh, like we're closing in on 5,000.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I think we're at like 4,970 or something like that, and that to me is like a wild number. I'm like 5,000 people.
Those YouTube lives are coming in clutch.
Yeah.
We don't get much interaction from people on there, but people seem to follow. So
yeah. So yeah, it's like 20,000 is just like what? And then I mean, who knows where you'll be in a year's time, sort of thing.
The numbers are good.
Yeah.
I think when you get into content creation, you can get caught up in numbers sometimes. And it's not always a good thing to look at. It's good to look at to see if your things are working. But a real good example is we've got 15,000 people on TikTok, and we get maybe 5 people on a live now, 6 people. Yeah. The other night it pipped at 30. I'm like, wow, algorithm's really kicking off. So numbers aren't always, if you're getting into content creation, it's not the be all and end all. It is not the be all and end all. Don't get obsessed with the numbers, but you know, look at them and use them to direct where you should be going.
Yeah, I think definitely using them, like, it's nice to hit milestones and things like that. It's always nice to acknowledge the milestones. Like, I always think it's such a big deal when we hit, those.
Oh, for sure.
Like, with the first 1,000 was, and you never think you're going to get to 1,000. You don't.
It seems like such a massive number that you're miles away from.
Yeah. And then, 2,000 comes around, and then 3,000 and so on. And you just, I don't know, it's cool to appreciate each milestone because, you do work hard to get there, and you do put in a lot of time, blood, sweat, and tears, and all that. And it's so awesome. Like, it's so awesome to have that. But like you said, Justin, you don't want to be like, oh, I didn't get to 5,000 this week.
Well, the thing is, right, like, if you start doing a live, and I've basically learnt this from starting again on Twitch. When we first started on TikTok, we were getting 2 to 4 people on a live. Now, I was determined to continue to stream no matter what. Didn't matter the numbers. And we were going to stream. And we got to like a really, the golden era of streaming where we had like 70 to 90 in chat for like a month, which was absolutely fantastic. And now I'm starting over again. So it sort of gives you a little bit of a reality check, and like you come back down and we need to build this all back up again. But we'll get there with the Twitch. But it is hard to look at numbers and just be like, man, we've got this really nice setup. We've got a really nice camera. I've got really nice audio. I paint nice models. I'm interacting with everyone, and there's 10 people here. So I think it's one of those areas that not many people talk about in content creation.
10 absolute legends.
No, don't get me wrong. I love.
Yeah, we got the best people.
It's where you need to start. Like, you can't just come in and start streaming and you've got 100 people in chat already, unless you're like, I mean, I probably could if I was in a hot tub, and then, we
did talk about
things
the hot
would have
tub
really
stream.
there is a hot tub stream coming.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And that's when you could run 20 minutes worth of ads in an hour block.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think that's one of those things. If you're ever looking to get into content creation, just realize that there's going to be days you don't have numbers. You're not going to get the interactions, but you just got to stick. You got to stick at it. You have to stick at it.
Yeah.
If it's something that you want to drive,
you'd probably have more of an insight, obviously, with knowing a few of those bigger names in the hobby and stuff like that. Like, when we first started out, or when Justin first started out streaming, I remember going on to other people's, mainly lives, I think, at the time, and seeing more established painters, and like, some of the days they were streaming, they weren't getting crazy numbers in their lives and things like that. Like, their interactions weren't wild.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've obviously stuck it out, and they've obviously grown their audience to a point that doesn't necessarily matter to them, or it's not going to stop them doing what they're doing. Like, they're still putting out videos on YouTube, and some will hit and some will miss. Like, you can go onto anyone's YouTube channel, and no matter who it is, they're going to have a video with like 500 views or something on it.
Well, see, and here's the thing, like, you can even look at the big guys. Like, say, take your Miniacs, your Ninjons, ML, Squidmar. All of them, you can see their massive subscriber number. Like, Squidmar's at, 500,000 subscribers now, which is insane.
Crazy.
But if you can then look and see that he'll have a video and it's done 50,000 views. Now, if you break that down into percentages, that is a wildly terrible video for him. Right, 50,000 views. If I cop a 50,000 view video, awesome. That is the highlight of my month.
Yeah,
that will sustain me for quite some time. For him, that is a completely underperforming exertion of energy, time, and money for the past month that he's been filming. Like, you really have to balance out those numbers of where it does become worth it sometimes. But when you go into stuff like live streams and Twitch, it's all about the regular. It's the guys that keep coming back, and they stop becoming viewers and start kind of becoming friends. Like, you start to remember like what they're up to, what's going on in their lives. You know, you start asking about their projects and how they've been building and how they've been painting and that kind of thing. And that's where it becomes more fun. And like you might jump into somebody's stream and they'll have, 14, 15 people on with them. But those 14, 15 people are generally always subscribed. They are there for every single one. They are chatting, which on Twitch, how many chats you get is also a number that pops up in the analytics. Like that's a big thing. The numbers aren't a real. It's actually really funny we bring this up. We were talking about this in one of the creator groups that's got like a lot of the big ones. The numbers we give way too much power for. They're there to help if we know how to use them, but they're not something that we should get hung up on. And I used to get dragged down a fair bit. Like I've put out daily content for almost a year. Like we're getting pretty close. Like there's only a few months off, and I get a daily sub count. Or a daily view count of what I've got in the last 48 hours. I can cut that down to 24, blah, 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 blah. Like if that dips under 70,000 views a day, it's like, oh, that's not great for me. But 70,000 views for somebody else is massive.
Oh, that'd be huge for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be yes.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things. It's like, don't come into this thinking that you're going to get rich, you're going to get famous. There's so much work that goes on in the background. Even if you love it like we do, there is so much to do. And it's something that's kind of continuous. But no, the numbers really, they're here nor there. Like I only pull out my analytic numbers when I'm going after a sponsor. That's it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good for that type of sponsorship clout in a way. But
Yeah.
I agree with your numbers. The thing people don't understand is the more you do what you love, the more you try and help people is when you're going to succeed at content creation.
Yeah.
If you are strictly driven by numbers and you're doing what you think you should be doing, it's probably not going to work out for you.
Yeah. And it's just like all those other videos you see on YouTube. It's like how to guarantee to get your channel from 0 to 1,000 followers. It's not guaranteed at all. That's not how this works. If there was an actual roadmap on how to become Mr. Beast, we would all be fucking millionaires, and there'd be nobody on YouTube because we've all retired by now. Like it's one of those things. So it doesn't matter. There's nothing guaranteed. Just do what you enjoy, and if something comes out of that, that is awesome. If not, at least you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, 100%. I think, having an actual passion, like a true passion for something, is the only way to come across and actually reach your audience where you're going to connect in a way where they're going to want to support you. They're going to want to help you grow. You have to be genuine. Like
For sure.
We kind of were
being
chatting,
genuine is huge.
we were chatting about this a little bit before the show, where if you had to pretend for like 290 posts or however many days you've streamed in a row, Justin.
And do you know, and it's so pretending to be something is different to, say, being a Dr. Disrespect streamer. Dr. Disrespect puts on a wig and has like a character that he plays. But if you are not being genuine, then that would just be one of the most exhausting things ever. Mm-hmm. Imagine just, I don't know.
If you do succeed and make it a full-time job that way, there's no way you'd be enjoying it.
You could not sustain it either.
Yeah, there's no way. And look, honestly, people are pretty smart. They can smell someone that's not being overly genuine.
Yeah.
Like it's just how it is. Like if somebody's going to come on and being just incredibly fake, instantly they're not interested. Some people might be, but the rest of us will see through it. We don't want anything to do with that.
I think that's for me. That's like where the content, the live content, is the most exciting, because this is live every fortnight. You're live every night. You said you stream live every Friday on Twitch. Like live, you can mess up pretty quickly.
Oh yeah,
like it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
I've messed up setting the podcast up. We've done some stupid stuff. Like it's so easy to like mess up, and if you're not genuinely who you are when you're filming, that'll get like highlighted pretty quickly on a live.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And for you guys doing it day in, day out, like I can pretend every fortnight. It's not that hard. But for you guys doing it day in, day out, it's pretty easy. Like you'd get caught out pretty quick, I would imagine.
Oh yeah.
If this wasn't sort of like genuinely your passion. And yeah, I love the live side of it. That's definitely the most enjoyment I find is coming on live. And
It was the thing that we were most nervous about too.
yeah.
Remember how nervous we were on our first podcast?
Oh yeah, that was a shocker. I was.
This took so long to sort of, and I'd been doing the lives as well, and I was still nervous for the podcast.
I think I practiced the intro like a dozen times, and I still screwed it up.
I think it's like that for everyone. Man. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, especially when you're first starting, you think, okay, everything's got to look clean. We've got to, look like we're professionals, like we know what we're doing. It doesn't work like that. That doesn't happen for the majority of us. So one of the first few times I ever streamed, so I still use Twitch Studio to stream through on Twitch, and there's a thing where you end stream and there's a little pop-up that asks, are you sure you want to end stream? Well, I didn't click that. So I was still live for like another hour and a half, empty seat or me walking back and forward in the background, just top of my lungs singing Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men songs for nearly 2 hours. And then like a buddy of mine messages me, it's like, hey, you're still live on Twitch. I was like, oh, cool. So yeah, obviously I was like an extra 2 hours. Like it was legitimately like I had no idea.
That's sick.
And it was it's one of those things where it doesn't matter. Like that didn't burn my career.
Nah.
It's like that was earlier. I don't even think I really have a career in it now, to be honest. But that, like, we're so worried about being perfect and coming across as like professionals and looking like the big guys do, that it doesn't happen. It doesn't have to happen either.
Yeah. I think, for us, we definitely aim to like have everything looking clean. Like
We've got standards for sure.
Oh yeah, standards.
But we definitely
Our goal was to sort of come in. We knew that we had room to improve. We're always going to have room to improve. Just come in at a good standard, and improve from there.
And I think it was more like we knew what we're aiming for. If it didn't come across that way first go, whatever. We're trying to look clean. We're trying to look polished, but it's not going to work out like that. We're going to have technical difficulties. I'm going to turn the camera off right before the stream starts. And,
this is in a shipping container right now.
Yeah.
There's no window behind that curtain.
Nah. It's just the docks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely, I think the best advice you could give to someone starting out is like you said, just you got to have fun with it. You got to enjoy it. Like,
persist with it.
You couldn't
have
do
fun,
it.
persist with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give it a realistic chance of being up, because it's 1 in a million people that stumble across that dumb luck of getting
Insta famous.
Instant reacts.
Yeah.
Very, very rare. Very rare.
Yeah.
I mean,
and let's be honest now, a lot of those people that go viral, they fall off just as quick.
Yeah. Like it took a long time before any of my Instagram posts really sort of took off. And when you compare the rest of them to my jump pack captain, they're all good. They're good posts. It's only one of them that's really taken off, but that's through persistence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Your painting quality and stuff hasn't really changed. Your post style is almost exactly the same.
You plateaued, buddy. Yeah, you're done.
I mean, they're all of a similar quality.
You've hit your ceiling.
yeah. You've peaked for sure. But yeah, nothing really changed except the models.
Yeah.
And then, one post just blows up. But like the people that go viral, like that's not a career. You can't make it. Not everyone can make a living off one post sort of thing. Like you've got to be consistent with it. You've got to put out regular content. You've got to have a plan as well, I guess. Like once you start, like I think you said, when the when the penny dropped and you're like, I can make a career out of this, you've got to treat it like it could be a career. Like, how would you progress your career?
It's a big thing, and especially coming from the angle of starting where this was just hobby, this was extracurricular, this was nothing. It was never ever planned to be like, so there was no business plan for this. It just happened, and you kind of had to roll with it and start making smarter decisions of, you know, what or when you're posting. Before I used to just post anytime. And then I got a bit of a following and people started to expect a certain time. And okay, so you start to do that. Then you have to think about what brand you're using, because obviously there's a couple of brands out there that aren't incredibly above board. Like people that have stolen artists' work or those kind of things. And that starts to become a thing as well. And I trying to flip that's been a minefield to try and get into. And I was lucky enough to have people that I'd met earlier on who are bigger YouTubers than I am kind of help me through that. So honestly, legitimately, anybody that wants to start this and find they're having issues, I am not crazy good at this. Feel free to send me a message. If you have a question that feels that's a little bit above where you're at, ask me. Because I did the exact same thing to people I know. And if you don't ask, you don't know how to fix it.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good that someone like yourself is willing to, you know, help out those that are trying to get into it or start or grow.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I honestly, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to take food out of people's mouths, but I've come across a bunch of creators that, to be honest, they're just asshats in real life. And like, they're all about what can you do for them, or same with some companies, you know, you don't bring any value to us, blah, 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 blah. It's, some people see others doing this a same thing or a similar thing as competition. That's not what this is. Like, you can go out and say, like, this is my community. You try going into your Discord group and telling all the people in there that they're not allowed to be in any other Discords. You are the only Discord group they are allowed to be in. See how that works out for you. That means that you are a shared community. You're not exclusive. Like, you don't get exclusive rights to people. Like, they legitimately abolished that. That's what the Civil War was about. Like, it's, you don't get to control that.
I'm just picturing me putting a post in the Discord.
Yeah.
We don't get, so I don't know how many people got in the Discord, 300, and occasionally we put links up. Like, it's not very often we get a react to something. So I don't think if I put in, hey guys, this is the only Discord you can be in, I don't even know it would be seen.
But it's still one of those things, like, literally, like, and that's what I'm saying though. Like, if you're not like super, if that isn't like a really buzzing community, that is going to be instantly, okay, we're out of here then. Same thing. Like, if you post a video on YouTube saying, if you subscribe to this channel, you have to unsubscribe to everybody else's. That's not going to happen. It's stupid. And that instantly means that the other channels are not competition. They are not your competitors. They are not rivals. They are just people doing the same thing that you're doing. And a lot of them are pretty awesome. You don't have to, like, and a lot of will agree to collab. Like, we're doing a show literally right now. Like, we didn't start off all together. Like, we're in completely different places. Like, you know, you guys in the shipping container and I'm out in the ACT. And like, it's not a competition. Like, just because I'm here doesn't mean you can't have any other guest. It's so stupid how some people think, to be quite frank. It's, yeah, and there's a lot of businesses out there too that think they get exclusive rights and exclusive deals, and like, you can't work with anybody else or you can't share anything else. Like, I've already turned down, actually not even turned down, I left an agreement from a company because I shared another company's post, and they said, hey, what was this post about? I was like, a buddy of mine owns this shop and they had a pre-order, so I shared it for him. And they're like, well, I think we have different ideas of what's exclusive. I tell them, well, I think we have different ideas of if I'm going to commit to the rest of this contract or not. And that was it. And it's, you don't have to be an arsehat about everything. This is just fun.
Yeah.
I know I'm getting into like rambling territory here, but you really don't have to take this incredibly seriously, where like, it's not one of those things where it's not enough for me to succeed, but others must fail. It is a really stupid way of going about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's some, I don't know. It's very narrow-minded, I think, and very short-sighted.
Yeah.
Especially in a growing hobby.
Book of Grudges.
Yeah, book of
Get him in the Book of Grudges.
Yeah. You need one of those for sure. Definitely get a Book of Grudges.
Man, I've filled it up. I would have an Excel sheet of grudges. Like,
so from the business perspective, where to next for Heresy for Heretics?
So
you said you're doing a few appearances coming up.
Yep, and I'm not charging for the appearances. I'm not Chris Hemsworth. It's not going to cost you $40,000 to have the Thunder from Down Under at your event. It's just like they've asked me to come along and like talk or come along and judge a painting competition. Or it's like, yeah, sure. I still feel really weird about judging a painting competition. Like, legitimately, like I am the worst painter in like one of my hobby circles. Like, one of my hobby circles legitimately consists of people that have judged for or won golden demons or Slayer swords and shit like that. I am the worst painter in that group. I don't really think I should be judging, but okay. Quick heads up, if you paint it pink, I'm going to give you extra points.
I was going to say it needs more pink for sure.
Yeah. If you can paint a dick on the bottom of the base where nobody else can see it but me, extra points.
Yeah.
But it's stuff like that. So business-wise, I do have a signature brush set coming out with golden maple, which is really, really cool.
That is sick.
I was not expecting anything like that at all. Same thing. They just hit me up in an email just saying, hey, do you want to try out some of our brushes? And I sent back saying, yeah, sure, that sounds great. And then like the stuff they sent me, it's like, okay, well, we're going to make a custom brush for you. I was like, that's really cool. And then they're like, okay, we'll make 4 custom brushes for you, and we can then box it up as a sponsorship product. I was like, that sounds even cooler. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So now I have an entire brush set coming out. Just same thing. I accidentally fell up the stairs. That's my business plan.
It works.
Yeah. So far, it's great. Like I am Domino from the X-Men. It's just all luck. It's just crazy. I am going to have to start putting together somewhat of a plan. Like if I am going to look at turning this into a career, like I have actually just opened up commission painting slots again, which very few and far between. And I am only doing Synthwave, single models, that kind of thing. Nothing. You can't say, hey, I've done like 48 hours on these Tyranids. Can you do the rest of them? No, that's not what I'm doing.
Unlucky, Justin.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
It's 165 hours. Come on.
Sorry, days, 41 days. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. The hardest thing to do is my internal conflict is how do I monetize this so I can feed my kids, but I don't just become an influencer trying to sell you like Scottish land titles like that. That's not going to roll for me. That's not what I'm in here. Anything that I do through the channel or even just me, it is going to be something that's hobby related, something that's going to be actually useful for us. It's not going to be the reason I'm showing somebody a product on the channel is not going to be because of the paycheck that comes at the end of it. I feel that's almost just as disingenuous as coming up with a character and running with that for 3 hours. So yeah, I honestly don't know where the business is going. I just hope it keeps going. Yeah. At the moment, this is just a wild ride, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, just something that wave.
we'll figure out the money later. That's
riding that synthwave.
Yeah.
right in the synthwave. Yeah, that's actually my Twitch notification. Whatever model I'm painting, Angron's riding the synthwave.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I think what I found, like, it's really cool to hear from your side of things, because I connected with your stuff a lot because you have a similar opinion to what Justin does on a lot of things. I think, like, when you're doing your motivational clips on Instagram or YouTube, you have a lot of similar perspectives. And I thought something that was interesting with a lot of your content is you tend to put the models first.
Yeah.
And that's something I've spoken a lot with Justin about, is a lot of wannabe hobby celebrities just chuck their face straight in the middle of the content. And Justin was so adamant when he first started. He was like, I want it to be about the model. Even now with his Twitch streams, he's like, I want it to be about the model. I want the model to be nice and clear, bang in the center, so that people
when we
can
do
see.
Which I completely forgot about. So our friend Riley that I work with.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Riley.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Raz.
Happy birthday,
So
Riley.
he's doing some artwork for the Twitch, like our template and all that type of stuff. I'm not going to have a face cam. If people want to come and see the face, it's not like I'm ashamed of what I look like. You can come to the podcast. You can see how I look. The model is the focal point. It's why people are initially there. They can get to know you afterwards. But like, yeah, like you said, there's plenty of guys out there. I've seen them. Bang, face first. Come and watch our hobby
So I
streams
was curious
tonight.
with Heresy if that was a conscious decision or if that's kind of just how you started off.
In thumbnails, like there is a lot of different opinions out there, especially between creators of, like, they think the psychology behind putting your head on the thumbnail, for example, is that people start to connect with you as a person. So they start supporting you as a person. The backfire of that is a lot of times the person that you then see in the video, you can't connect with as a person. Like a lot of it is off a script. A lot of it's preformed. It's nothing overly personal. Obviously, there's people that doesn't apply to, like John Ninas, Ninjon. He is just a super funny dude. And his videos it shows a lot of his personality in it, where, like, you can compare that to other people where they kind of have the personality of a wet mop and the face of a drop pie. So neither of those things are working for them. For me personally, I have tried it. Like, you'll find a couple of my thumbnails where, like, I'll have like this little head in the bottom of the corner, and guess what? It scared people off. So I went straight back to, let's just look at the mini. It's all it has to be. And, like, thumbnails on YouTube are so damn small, no matter what you're on, that I don't need to take up more space than what I'm trying to show you to start with. Like, the thumbnail that I just put out, because I did Ironman and all non-metallic metal, that was really, really hard to show the non-metallic metal parts of in a thumbnail that's like an inch tall. That, like, putting my head in there and taking 50%, if not more, of that space is not going to help that at all. So I think it's the same thing. And I don't usually have titles. Titles are the exact same thing. It's like, you can't do this, or you've never tried that, or I've failed this. I've tried that before. Like, honestly, I have, because at some point you got to try and see what works for you, and what kind of hits. But it's stupid. I would rather tell people in the title what is going on in the video.
Yeah.
Like, a little bit of mystery is cool, but if you're walking in blind, it doesn't help people that have clicked on the video and thought, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm not interested in this at all. There goes your retention analytics. But it also doesn't help people that are looking for something specifically, because they're skipping past because it doesn't say it. It doesn't say it. It doesn't show it. Like if I put up these 3 paints are all you need, and then it's a picture of my face, and then you open it up and I've just used 3 paints to paint non-metallic metal, none of that information comes through. Like, there is no rhyme or reason for people to be clicking on that video. It doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the model coming first is 100% probably the best way for me and my style to do it, just like Justin has been, just like War Painter does, or the War Hipster. Sorry, everything is it's just the model. You know exactly what it is, and the funny part about that is, like, going into the business wise, you can start to brand that. So early on, I used to put like my my logos in the thumbnails. My name is already there. Like it's people already know it's me if that's what they're looking for. So instantly that can come out. Like, and then like I've got a thing where you can tell it's one of my videos, other than my name being on it, by like the two little triangles and then Synthwave something, and then a picture of the model. That's all it has to be. It doesn't really have to be. Like, there's people that put a science to this and they've done amazingly well, but it still doesn't hit 100% of the time. There is no 100% guaranteed anything with the algorithm.
Yeah.
So just do what you're comfortable with. Do what kind of reflects your personality, and that's really it. It's all you have to do.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I was really curious about it because I have seen a lot of people trying to be Ninjon type entertainers when, like, it's hard if I don't know their work
into the
already.
hobby.
So, like, for example, once someone's been making content for a while or putting up their models and stuff, I can kind of be like, oh yeah, this is their style. This is what they paint. Yeah. Heresy paints a lot of synthwave, a lot of bright colors. I kind of know what you're painting, so I wouldn't be so, I don't know, off-put having you as sort of like a talking head sort of video, because I've seen your work. I kind of know what you're about. Whereas some of these guys are just coming in, I feel like, and they're already starting off being in the video first, and I'm just like, I don't know, what are you painting? Do I even want to watch this? Like,
exactly, yeah.
This is also a heads up for everybody because we'll be making an ad after this.
It's going to be me
for the giveaway. For the giveaway, so you're going to get two heads.
It's a double talking head though, which is far more impressive than the single talking head.
Yeah,
so.
double heads.
Yeah, the old double header.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a funny. The content creation stuff is wild. If you start just thinking about the content creation and forget about the hobby, it's intense as.
It really is, yeah.
But yeah, I think if you boil it down to just doing what you love and doing what you enjoy, like you seem to have a lot of fun doing what you're doing. We have a lot of fun doing what we're doing. So
yeah.
And like I'm excited. So where are these dates whereabouts in? Are you going to be making some appearances? You got any locations yet, or?
I am so bad with this kind of stuff. I'm going to be...
You need to get yourself a background person for sure.
Yeah. Mrs. Heresy is generally the one that tells me where and when I'm going.
Yeah.
She's actually like that for the live streams too. Like, I could just be sitting there. She's like, you've got a stream to do in 10 minutes. Go and get ready. I am. So I know I'm judging a paint competition at In-Games, which is in the Southern Highlands. Not sure when. I'll get back to you on that one. I've got a couple more festivals. I might be at Supernova on a panel. Maybe. I have no idea where that's ended up. And then, just other bits and pieces, little conventions and such as we go. I honestly don't know.
That's all right.
As you can tell, like the business side was never the plan for this.
No, I was just curious because I know after watching this, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that would love to see where you're at and
don't do it. It's a trap.
But yeah, that'll be exciting, man. Hopefully you can make it down to Melbourne because.
Yeah, I've been trying to get down to Melbourne now for almost a year. Like the guys at. And actually, it almost happened. So the guys over at Risky Rollers, I was supposed to come down there and do a battle report with them. And then I think Dean from Blog for the Blood God, because he lives really close to the guys, I think he was coming around and we were doing something there too. And then Trent from Miscast, if he's still awake, I'll get a hold of him and we'll go do something too. Like it's just one of those. I've been trying to get there for like a year now.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't happened. But no, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to get down to Arc, and then I'm not.
Same.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys got on that day?
DreamHack.
Oh,
Same day.
DreamHack is on the same weekend. So
it is. Yeah.
yeah,
Would you believe it?
it's man. We keep saying it. It's just an opportunity we cannot pass up.
Yeah.
It's
Arc-
massive, man.
Arc,
It's
Arc
awesome.
can be another day for sure.
Yeah, next year we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Unless DreamHack's going to do the same year.
Yeah, same again. Start
We'll just
planning
keep going
for
to
the same
DreamHack.
day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be a
But
lot
no,
of fun.
it's a really cool opportunity you guys got for that.
Yeah. Space on the panel. No.
We're going to be doing a panel there as well. We are going to
Yeah.
be doing a panel.
Oh, Christ. Send me an inbox. We'll sort it out.
Nah, so yeah, that's pretty much for us, I think, is DreamHack. We got the store opening, which will be fun
Yeah.
for us because, I mean, I've never been to a
VIP night?
VIP night for a store opening,
Yeah.
so
That's really cool.
that'd be cool. And the thing that's going to be like an epic store, I don't know if you heard in one of the earlier episodes, it's like they're trying to plan it so it's like it's going to be like a flagship hobby store, like something that's going to be.
It'll be the type of store that people will want to travel to play at.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what we're
If
hoping.
people come to Melbourne, they're going to be like, if you're a hobbyist and you're visiting Melbourne, Churnside Park General Games Epic Store is going to be a place to go to.
I'm going to be 100 when you guys keep saying that's an epic store. I am so just overwashed with GW. I thought it was going to be like a tiny little outlet, like it's going to be like a quick stop kind of thing. It's like a
Yeah.
McDonald's Express.
gotcha.
I thought it's going to be smaller because it's epic. And one, that gives away my age. Two, it's just thanks Games Workshop for
They
completely
used to call them epics, did
blindsiding
they?
me.
The little stuff.
Yeah, so Legion Imperialis used to be called Epic.
Oh, the Epic
Oh,
scale. Got
cool.
you.
Yeah, epic.
No,
Yeah,
this
every
is-
time you say epic,
Yeah,
it's gonna
no,
be
this
an epic scale store. I was like,
Well,
okay,
that's
it's
the
little.
term. That's the term they use, and I wanted to call it. I wanted to call it the flagship store.
Flagship. I'm in with that.
Yeah. Mega store.
Mega store this Saturday. Battleforge Gaming.
Yeah.
Heresy
So-
for Heretics.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be massive. Like I think it's 3 or 4 times the size of their current store.
Yeah, I think it's
That's
going to have
great.
room for 40 people, I think, regularly to play games,
tournaments and stuff.
which is pretty good.
But yeah, like
That's
the
pretty
kids are going to be spoiled for getting into the hobby. Like I can't imagine what it's going to be like. 12-year-old cruising into a store like that, and that's their first exposure to the hobby. Will be like, yeah, I can come down and play every Saturday in like a 20-person tournament. Sick.
Just make sure you've got Lord of the Rings on the shelf.
Yeah, that's the draw card. That's what gets them all in.
Yeah, you put them in the window, and you'll Space
Yeah.
Marines out the back. And then behind the red curtain, you'll have Slanesh.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I've got some more NIDs to paint later on tonight. I think
Yeah.
maybe 2 or 3 days, and then I'm done. Back to Blood Angels. Be good.
So yeah, thank you very much for Heresy for Heretics
No,
for
thanks for having
joining
me,
us
guys.
today. It's been absolutely unreal talking to you. And if you want to check out his work, we've got Heresy for Heretics AU on Instagram,
Yep.
and then Heresy for Heretics on YouTube,
Yep, we'll have links for him.
and then Twitch as well. It'll all be marked up, linked up on the show notes on YouTube, because this is live on Twitch at the moment. Once we edit it, or if we need to edit it, and then onto YouTube. And then, that's brings us to an end. If you are looking to get some free stuff, we are running this competition until, what was the date? March 28th.
March 28th is when we will announce.
We'll announce the winner. So to enter, like and comment on both episode 11 and episode 12, this
Yep.
episode of the podcast. And you go in the draw to win either a combat patrol box of your choice or a Titan.
Questoris Knight.
That's the guy. Yeah. And that's thanks to General Games. So thank you very much, everyone that's tuned in live and everyone watching across the streaming services. Massive thank you to Heresy for Heretics for joining us. And as always, BFG Justin.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you
Thanks,
next
guys.
time.